What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to See It Through My Eyes, a podcast with four weirdos that got nothing better to do than to stand around and look at each other. Today we got a full house. I'm your host, Richie, here with Jesus, the editor / cameraman / whatever the else I have. There goes the first 2 minutes of my person.
No.
Anyways, we have here the black man himself in the black, Ian, and Omar in the whatever color he's wearing.
I'm darker.
So today,
Good grief.
so today's episode, guys, we're going to be talking about healthy relationships. Now, we technically already did something similar about a year ago, so it's more of like an update. But before we get into it, how's everybody doing?
Well,
I want to.
I'm a little, dry downstairs, but I could survive.
Oh, jeez. How about you, Ian?
That was your response? Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'm doing awesome.
Such a white old lady.
Oh,
jeez.
God. I could have said jinkies, but
You nerd.
Oh, man. We're getting monetized.
no, we're
Yeah,
not.
Jesus, we're getting copyrighted.
Well, we'll be fine.
Oh.
Now, when you do it, it's fine. But when one motherfucker here tries to do something,
Hey,
Hey, 2 minutes.
you already lost that.
You are.
Oh, okay.
Ricky, 3 minutes.
Okay.
All right,
leave my brother alone.
So before we get censored more, let's get into the episode, guys. So what do you guys define a healthy relationship? I don't know if you guys remember what exactly you said the year prior.
Can I go first?
Can I finish?
Yeah. But
So
can I go first?
what you said last year and what you feel has changed as you got at least 1 year older. Jesus, I don't know if you want to say anything.
Well, now I don't know. Just kidding.
What, man? You gotta think.
You know what? We're gonna bring a fourth person in here. Fire as it is.
I think the first thing that I would say is, within a healthy relationship, you'll see, at least I hope you would see if you are in one.
Is that a blind joke?
No.
Talk about reading between the lines.
No.
I can't read between lines.
Look at I.
All right.
The most thing that should be happening in a healthy relationship is respecting your boundaries and your partner's boundaries. And with that being said, it is possible that there's a lot of people who don't do that, unfortunately. So if you have a partner who doesn't do that, I think it's time to have a conversation with them.
In other words, you're just saying, dear partner, get out.
So I got a question, Jesus.
Yeah.
Now, it's a general question. It's not really based around a romantic relationship. I know technically it's the month of romance, but I think we did something similar last year. Now, do you think that what you just said, that advice, in your opinion, does it apply just for any type of relationship, or is it strictly a romantic?
Yes, it applies for any type of relationship, whether it's romantic, friendship, or family, because as we all know, we got that one person in our lives that doesn't seem to respect the boundaries that we set. So first and foremost, if you're in a healthy relationship, remember that you and your partner must respect each other's boundaries. Anyone else want to go next?
Nice.
Anybody have anything else to top that?
Not bad. Boundaries. That's a pretty good one. I mean, I personally feel the best thing, honestly, to keep a person in a healthy relationship, one is know what you're looking for, and in the sense of know what don't you want. Be able to compromise in a healthy way, and I guess the biggest one is if you already know what doesn't work, don't keep going for the same thing over and over. And this is in any relationship, romantic, freaking friendship, love, whatever, co-workers. If you know that's what you're attracting, maybe you should take a step back, But yeah, that's what I think. It's a healthy relationship.
My position is a healthy relationship is you guys should never stop growing, because I feel like when people hit that point of just familiarity, then they stop, actually trying to go about, like, doing other stuff. And even like when it comes to friendship as well, where it's just you guys, like, kind of just do the same thing and all that, and then it's just you get a sense of comfortability, and then sometimes that level of comfortability, then it turns into like, just, well, I already know what you think and all this and that, and it's like, if you really want that healthy relationship, you guys should constantly be evolving, like, romantic, platonic, whatever it may be. Y'all have to be evolving, whether it's just y'all, maybe try, new stuff or stuff like that, or at least at the very most, get to know each other on more levels than just the one. Because it's kind of bad that some people can be like in some type of relationship with someone for like years and years and years, and hilariously enough, they don't know a thing about them. Almost to the point where it's like, were y'all even like tight? Like, were y'all even like had a relationship in the first place? So, yeah.
For me, what I'm kind of learning as I get older, and this kind of applies for any type of relationship in my life, I would say that 6 things that I kind of have importance, and 2 of them are going to be follow-up questions right now. But the first 2, communication and trust. I say what you just kind of touched on, Ian, getting to know each other also better, getting to know yourself, that self-work on yourself, compassion also, because sometimes it's that power struggle, or just you are going at each other's necks and you don't know what the other person is kind of going through, and that doesn't justify if somebody says or does something stupid and, hurt your feelings or break your trust. But sometimes you're in a relationship, whether it's romantic or family or friendship, and you don't know what the other person is going through. You have an interaction, it might not be a good day for the other person, and you just happen to get caught in the crossfire. And, it's kind of like a domino effect, because now you're pissed off, now you're in a bad mood. So I've learned that one, and another one kind of that goes with that is forgiveness. I've learned that because I tend to be very resentful, and I'm learning that as I go along, both in my romantic relationship, in friendships, and also in family relationships, where people break your trust, people hurt you, people break it, people will take advantage of you, but that doesn't mean that people can't change also. Just like you are able to change and make those differences in your life, then I feel if somebody at least puts that work, then you should acknowledge it and be able to, forgive and repair that type of relationship. So that's kind of what I'm learning. Does anybody have anything before we move to the next question? There's only 2 questions. No question marks?
No, nothing. I think we hit the main juicy parts.
Yeah.
So for the next question, do you guys feel that communication in a relationship, again, regardless of if it's platonic or what type of relationship, do you feel communication can happen with a person, even if they themselves aren't putting much effort? Like, let's say, I know I kind of worded it kind of weird, so I'm gonna use an example. Like, let's say you're talking to, I don't know, a friend, and you want to communicate with them that something they did was wrong. Do you guys feel like if that person acts defensively because they think that you're attacking them, that you shouldn't continue trying and just quit communication?
I'd say that through watching videos of people who've been in situations like that, and what most people say is that you have to word your statement in a way where you're not attacking the other person. You have to put it with you. It's like, instead of using "you do this" or "you do that," you could be like, "I feel..."
The I statements.
Like, I feel annoyed because, specific action that was taken. And I hope that we can resolve this, or at least talk about it together.
Do you feel, following kind of a follow-up question to what you just said, do you feel that you also have to kind of cater depending on the relationship with the person and also the person's personality? Like, you have to word it kind of differently than, like, let's say hypothetically here, like the 4 of us, the way you would ask me the same question, you will have to change it the way you ask Coleman, the way you ask Ian, like different.
Personally, I think that if it depends on the other person's response, because some people, what I've seen is that some people tend to get really angry and defensive, and that's not the response that you should look for within a healthy relationship. Hopefully, you know, you would have your partner's understanding and compassion within that moment, instead of, oh, here we go again, you know, you're bringing this up and such, you know. I don't know if you guys want to add on to that.
I mean, I personally feel like, yeah, kind of touching base on what you said, Jesus. If you have to be worrying about changing the tone of, or changing how you had to speak to the person that you're quote unquote in a relationship with, then that's not a healthy relationship right there. I mean,
or no, it's like even adding on to the basis of that, it's like if you're worried at all, to bring up stuff because of how they react.
Yeah,
that's not
basically like kind of like walking on eggshells.
Yeah. Like you're walking on eggshells because it's like you don't want to bring this up, or it's like you feel like they're gonna be mad at you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen.
You shouldn't be walking on eggshells.
Yeah, because like my position on it is, if you don't address what's going on, the actions that's getting to you are going to continue. There was something that Ricky, you said, I don't know if you said it over like a podcast or like we was just like talking, but I remember that you told me like, you know, just sometimes in relationship, people need quote unquote like reminders, or they just need like, hey, you know, you're not trying to really step on their toe, but it's just like, hey, I think, you know, I just need to let you know like this, you don't do this and that, but you at least need to make it aware enough. Because if you do just walk on eggshells about it, they're just gonna go about just thinking everything's fine and smooth, and then it's not. And then wait, because it's gonna come a moment. Wait till that moment where it's really heated. They're upset, you're upset. All of that stuff that probably you should have said at the moment, you probably could have said it, but because you was afraid that the reaction might come out, it is gonna come out, and it's gonna be really bad because you're both explosive. This is where we get to that issue where people today, some people don't know how to like make it past like a couple of days, months, minutes, and it's like because of just that whole, well, I don't want to say anything, you know, maybe they should just know that like they're doing wrong. It's like you can't go into the mind of someone else. You have to kind of put what's going on that you feel is like, you know, error on the forefront. If you don't do that, they just gonna keep moving, and it's gonna build up until, you know, you're ready to just kind of explode.
And to also add on to that, it's like, as you said, you talk about like resentment building and stuff like that. If that keeps happening, then I think it's time to look at yourself.
Yeah.
And to truly think about, one, why am I in this? You know, why do I keep going through this loop of just being on eggshells with this person and not feeling like I can communicate with this person, or even feel safe to communicate my needs, you know?
So I want to throw something, because I agree with what you guys are saying, but I also want to add, I feel it is important, and I mean, I've had individual talks with the three of you about different things on you guys' end, and I feel I had to change the way I spoke to you guys, not like, oh, you little, you know, you're gonna be okay, nothing like that, but I feel, I'm not going to debate whether or not it's a gender thing, but I do feel like when it comes to guys, at least, and I'm just saying that we're all straight men in here, so, you know, this is just about my perspective. I know, right, Lucy?
She's like, hey, hold on a second, I'm a lady.
That's Lucy in the background. If you hear anybody on the ground, it's not Jesus for it. But, it's the way you, anyway, sarcastic, condescending ass. But the way I spoke to you guys about whatever was going on, that I was like, you know, I feel like there's a different way, you know, some people will call it, you gotta call somebody out on their bullshit. But also, if you respect the person, then you also have to do it respectfully. You can't just be like, all right, sit your ass down, I'm gonna tell you what you're doing wrong. Because, at least for me, if somebody comes and do this to me and talk to me like that, they might have some facts thrown in there, but the way you go about it is very important.
It's how you say, and also it's also sometimes like what you don't say.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'll say this. I think if on the subject of that, then the question does come like, what is your intent to do behind what it is that you're doing? Like, are you, like you said, are you genuinely calling me out because I'm in error and it's affecting you? Or are you doing this, A, to try to, like, you know, make me feel small, you feel better, and then, like, or, like, is this just, like, you're trying to basically, like, belittle me? Are you trying to just, like, you know, prove a point? Because then, if the intent is wrong, it really doesn't matter what the words that proceed out your mouth gonna be. You already, like, initiated this wrong. So everything outside of that, like you said, even if it has base facts, it's not gonna register because you entered into this thing wrong. And then the recipient has a right to be like, you know what? I heard all that, what you're saying, but I don't care because you came at me wrong. And so now they're gonna receive it wrong. And they have the right to do that right back. And what are we doing? Now we're just bickering.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It all goes back to, like, how you say something, and to also maybe like reassure them that, hey, we're having this conversation because I love you. You know, not because I want to be against you or anything like that.
I love you, Jesus.
It's an intervention.
It's my intervention.
And I feel like, especially in society, I'm not gonna say like nowadays, but
It's been like this, dude.
it's like I feel people promote in a daily basis. It's not really of trying to help. You especially see that with the cancel culture. By the way, we're going to do an episode later on in the future, so tune in for that. But especially in situations like that, and you do see it a little bit more now, you know, where it's like you're not trying to help the person understand or give them the opportunity to change. You're attacking the person's character and that person's value as, you know, human being hell at some time. Because everyone is going to fuck up. Everyone is not going to always agree or see eye to eye on certain things. You know, for example, like my friendships and my relationship with you, Omar, as brothers, it's like, do I always agree with the stuff you guys say or do? No, and vice versa. But we still have that like, care and that respect for each other, both as, you know, friends and brothers, but also as men, where you're like, okay, you're not going to talk down, you know, to that person because you're not trying to put them down. You're trying to call them out, whether it's affecting you directly or indirectly. But nevertheless, I feel that at least the intention is I care about you. I care about the relationship we have, and I don't want it to be ruined. Because, you know, you shouldn't have to walk on eggshells. But at the same time, you do have to know when you have to speak up, whether or not the person likes it, or else sometimes, you know, maybe like let's hypothetically say like Ian, I mean, this has never happened, but I'm saying, you know, hypothetically, if I talk to you and I'm like, Ian, you know, you're doing this wrong, and you get upset, I feel, at least from my part, now I'm not saying I would always do this, but I'm saying from my part, I'm like, okay, he's upset, he has that right to be upset. Maybe, you know, as he kind of reflects on things, calms down, he'll take into consideration what I said, and later on be like, okay, you know, you were right, thank you for blah, blah, blah. And I feel sometimes people immediately, when they don't get I guess that conclusion that they want when they talk to a person, they just immediately, oh, you know what, get that.
It goes back to, like, if it's that case, it's like, are you doing this to be right, or are you doing this because you genuinely, like, you genuinely want to, like, work with this person to make sure this doesn't happen again?
My statement is, it brings up...
That is southern. My statement is...
Candidate Ian, what do you got to tell them?
Oh, no, we're not doing that again. That'll be later. But I think it brings up that subject that people don't really like correction these days, where it's just they want to be right, but when they're in the wrong and someone holds them accountable to that wrong, many people are they don't want to have that conversation, because it's much easier to call someone else out on something, but when you are that one that's in the error and someone calls you out on it, that's where the issues come up. And it's like, I agree, because sometimes at that moment a person doesn't like when they gotta face themselves when they're in the wrong. And they, you know, you tell them what's going on, they will probably get mad. They're like, I don't want to talk to you for a while, this, and that. And you know what? That's fine, because they need to digest that until they kind of see themselves, like, I was wrong. Now, whether or not they admit that or not to you, or, you know, to them, that's the person. But it is a conversation that they do need to have, because, like you said, we all human. Like, you know, and it's important that not only are we all human and we gonna mess up, we also need to be held accountable for when we mess up. Even if a hard word comes from your best friend or your partner or like whoever it is that's your squad, your group, whatever you call it. Like, we gotta be, it's called accountability for a reason.
Also, if y'all are seeing a pattern where it's
Jesus Christ, here we go again.
where it's not essentially getting better, even though you guys have the talks and whatnot, but your partner's still kind of like slipping up, and even you are still slipping up, then in that case, I think it's time for like you to check yourself.
Before you break yourself.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh yeah, and of course, like break up if you need to, you know, obviously.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's Dr. Phil.
Fucking armchair counselor, a couple counselor over here. So, final question to wrap up this episode. So, how do you go about when somebody? It's a loaded question. I'm just letting you know that. How do you go about when somebody breaks your trust? About going about it where you're, you know, the person is showing that they're changing, you know, they're redeeming themselves. How do you go about forgiving that person? I'll start first. I feel like I guess every situation is gonna be different. So obviously, you know, like if it just happened and depending what exactly happened, you're not going to immediately just like, okay, we're just gonna move on, you know, like nothing happened. If it's something big, you do have to take a step back and take that time to kind of reflect. But how do you guys feel like if somebody messes up, no matter what if something big, you know, let's say, I don't know, let's hypothetically say your best friend and your girlfriend, I don't know, sleep with each other, something like that. And, you know, they both say that they're sorry, they take responsibility or whatever. How do you guys go about it to forgive? Do you guys kick them out? Do you guys not forgive? Do you kick them out and not forgive? Like, what were you guys kind of, not that scenario, I'm just saying, like, overall, like, about forgiveness and trust again.
I think it depends to what level of hurt the person is. Like, as you mentioned, like cheating, right?
Mm.
Some people might take them back after that. Some people won't. It just depends on the person. And also, if you take them back after that, I don't think you have a right to complain about what they did. Like, honestly, because it's like, you know, you took them back.
True.
So yeah, that's my take on it.
So, sorry. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, I mean, that is a loaded question right there. Damn, my brother's dying.
I'm fine.
I guess for my instance, like, I will forgive to a degree. I'm not gonna let it, you know, eat me alive. Ricardo knows me. I let things go. But do I give you the same level of trust like I did before? No, absolutely not. That level of trust is beyond gone. You burn that bridge, like you know, 2021 type of burn your bridge. Like it's gone. It ain't coming back the same way.
So, question to you then. Do you feel like there's nothing that person can do to ever repair what they did?
I mean, if they take a bullet for me.
I don't know. For me, it's... How many bullets are you taking?
I'll say this. And I say this where it's like, look, it's messed up when people go wrong and they hurt us as much as they say that they aren't going to hurt us. We're just human. We make false promises and we don't come through all the time. I get that. And it's not right that they, you know, messed up your trust. With that being said, you are still obligated to heal yourself. Whereas, I agree with all of y'all where it's like, I don't have to give you the same dimensions of trust that I did before. Of course not. Or maybe that's up to you. But at the end of the day, you are obligated to, you know, take ownership of, like, you know, trying to repair the damage that they broke. And I get it. It's much easier to be like, well, they're the ones that fractured my trust. They should be the ones that they say sorry, this and that. But I'm one of those that understands that there's people in life, they really do some jacked up stuff, and waiting around for them to be sorry or for them to like come to their senses, or just I guess mature up and apologize. In the perfect world, everybody will do that offends you, but in truth, we don't live in a world like that. Some people just do that, and they will just make the statement, oh, like, oh, I'm sorry, can we just go back? It's like, that's kind of up to you. Like, you got to heal yourself to that degree, and then through that process, then you can kind of get the conclusion where it's like, do I want to give you the same access of levels? Because in truth, I'm one of those where it's like, if you fracture my trust, especially on like a severe level, I can forgive you for that, but that doesn't mean I have to journey through life with you anymore. I can give you the, fulfill the obligation of just, I love you because, God told me to do it, but I can do that from a very far distance. Like, I don't have to give you deep access, like levels of access to me anymore, because you've proven you could not handle that. Like, you don't put, gallons, like a gallon's worth of water into like a pint-sized cup. You're putting way too much in, and then you're getting upset that like what's coming out. You gave it too much. So it's totally fine. Like, you know what? If I don't trust you like that no more, like, it's like, it's totally fine. Like, I can move forward on that. And then it's like, some people, they do let that guilt get to them. It's like, well, is there anything I can do? And the answer is like, get it right with someone else. What you did wrong to me, you may not be able to fix what we had, but learn from that and just get it right with someone else. Because the truth about repentance is not about verbal. It's not about a verbal statement. It's more about a change of thinking. Because if your thinking changes, then your actions from that thought changes. So it's like, if you're really sorry, you live out sorry. You don't just say it.
So a follow-up question to that then. For the person that got hurt and got their trust broken, you said, move on to the next person, right? But what would you tell a person who's trying to do that? They're trying to open up again, retrust again. And, it's easy to say don't bring your dirty laundry or baggage of the past into a new relationship.
Of course.
But a lot of the time it's easier said than done.
It is.
So what would you tell a person that is kind of, let me finish my goddamn question.
Sorry.
What would you tell the person that feels like, subconsciously, without you knowing, you're bringing up or holding the other person unfairly responsible for what was done to you in the past, but you're also not at fault because, whether you're going to deal with it, you know how society is, that, you got to move on, society tends to tell you when to move on, not are you ready to move on.
Then, which opens up the conversation that it's time to probably do some self-work.
Yeah, it's
What were you going to say?
the same thing. It's like, are you ready to take a look at like what trauma response is coming up for you in these situations? It's like, why can't I let go? Why am I resentful? Like, what's coming up for me here?
The beautiful thing about at least just like the beautiful thing about like forgiveness and repentance is you don't always need the closure of the other party that did it, like that inflicted it, in order for you to get it. Sometimes you got to take ownership of that and be like, you know what, I'll go out my way and just, forgive you for what you did to me. And again, you're not doing it for their benefit, because again, they might just move on to the next person, or they might be just saying, I'm sorry, but they're not living out, I'm sorry. And you don't have time to waste for them to try to get it right, when it's like, there are people who do want to engage with a healthy version of you. And so to try to make innocent people pay for what other people broke is not really fair. So it's like, sometimes you do gotta have that, I got to, I'll take ownership of this. I'll say, I'll forgive you on my end, and it's not for the sake of you or your benefit. It's more on the lines for me. It sounds a little selfish, but in fairness, this is your life, because it's not fair that you give your life over to someone that inflicted a pain on you. Because to be honest, when trust is broken, it does impact you, and it does it kind of takes power away from you, because you gave something that was intimate to you to someone that honestly could not handle it.
Another thing is, I would say, it's like, how I say, why are you holding resentment? It's also like, are you holding this in so you can use it later, or is it just because you don't want to forget?
that brings up the subject on it, because I don't know if we'll ever deal with it, but that is a discussion about like some of the people that do decide to take people back, but they took them back, but they held receipts, and then they wait for a moment when things don't look right to throw that receipt back in their face, like, remember what you did, insert there, and then it's like, how long are you going to keep them? Because you took them back, but how long are you going to kind of keep them up to that, you know, what you did to me? Because then in that case, why did you take them back in the first place?
And at that point, if you're going so far as to hold receipts, right, then maybe, like, you know, in general, you're not ready for a relationship.
You throw away those fucking receipts and that fucking relationship.
Hell yeah, go get some CBS receipts.
Oh my God.
But my wrap-up thoughts to wrap up this episode. If somebody breaks your trust, if somebody hurts you, whether, you know, whatever type of relationship it might be, it's unfair and that ain't right what they did to you, and you had most likely you had no control over how they broke your trust. And it would be nice if people would take responsibility, and sometimes even if they do, they're never going to be able to heal that wound within you. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, that's going to be your journey to heal yourself.
And vice versa to the other person too.
Exactly. So, any wrapping thoughts? No?
Wiki.
So thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys
funny. Fuck you, motherfuckers.
join us for the next episode.
Happy
Please
Valentine's Day.
comment, and subscribe. If you celebrate Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day. If you don't, I mean,
You're a lonely fuck.
Oh my God.
forgive yourself.
Forgive yourself.
But thank you. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for joining us, and we love you.
Bye.
No, we don't.